So today we're going to talk about something a bit more theoretical. It's that all espresso is actually channeling. We're going to try to focus on the theoretical side of how to control channeling. So let's think of them as two separate things. We've got the uncontrollable channeling and controllable channeling. So if you're making coffee or espresso at home, you've most definitely experienced the uncontrollable flow of water through your espresso. We know that when you're brewing espresso, you're adding water and applying pressure to a puck of coffee in order for the water to navigate through and out of the bottom of your portafilter. There's really only two things within your puck prior to that water being added. There's coffee grinds and air. That water, when you apply pressure to that puck, has to navigate somewhere. It's navigating through channels, empty space in between the particles of coffee itself. When you're applying water and heat and pressure and all these things that espresso has, if you can apply all of that work to each piece of coffee as closely together as possible, then theoretically you should have a much more even extraction. We want to actually try to focus on that empty space just as much so as every other variable. So how do we do that? What are some measures that we can take to focus on how to control the channeling itself? So the first time that we likely saw uncontrollable channeling was with the introduction of the lever machine, used by pulling a lever down and filling a chamber full of water. And once you let go, it is charged with pressure to then force its way through. With the introduction of those machines, there was a pretty big range of pressure that was typically applied. We suspect that that's around the time that baristas started using tools such as a tamper to control that channeling, to purposefully restrict the flow of water through the espresso puck to be more consistent from shot to shot. So the tamper being the most popular form of compression, it works very simply. No matter how your coffee is positioned within your portafilter, it's compressing from the top straight down. There's also the combination of a distribution tool and a tamper. Now, the distribution tool's sole goal is to reposition the coffee prior to the compression. And this aids that process to be a little bit more even and allow for tamping to be a lot more consistent. So another form of compression that we've been experimenting with at Marzocco Home is what we like to call deep distribution. It's the extension of the distribution tool base a little bit further out. And as you're spinning it, it is also compressing. Now we've used this method at countless events teaching thousands of people how to make espresso as well. So we really recommend you give it a shot and see what you think. And with espresso machines and grinders becoming so consistent today, you can almost get away without tamping or distributing at all. Let's make some espresso. So comparing espresso machines from 70 years ago to today, we know that espresso machines were distributing pressure in a range rather than very consistent like today. And we know that grinders were also giving a large spectrum of coarse pieces and fine pieces. But we move to today and we know that this equipment is much, much more consistent and reliable from shot to shot. But really, if we're thinking about it abstractly, these tools are again being used to control channeling. So whatever configuration of tools you're using, again, we want them to be consistent. So that consistency is what is directly impacting the flow of water through your coffee. Yes, there is definitely grind size and pressure of your machine that is affecting that as well, but the more abstract thinking is how that water is navigating through the physical space. All espresso is channeling. We just want to control how that channeling happens. Please don't